We are live. So,
Yo,
Rob, thank you. Appreciate you, first off, for being the first interview for AhmaHustle.
oh yeah.
Appreciate it. We're doing similar things that connected a long time ago. But for this first episode of the interview series for AhmaHustle, we're just letting the people know what you do, who you are, how you grind and hustle in the entertainment industry. So, the first question is, who is Rob Jones?
Who is Rob Jones? Okay. Rob Jones is a Boston native, um, a film school grad, I feel, which is different than someone who's learned film on the fly. We think we know everything about film, so that's that's ingrained in my personality. I'm a lover of you know, uh, tours like Takashi Mike and Chan-wook Park and really the entire South Korean crime action new wave they got going on. I love those type of films. I love to read. Uh, Basically means I love learning. I love learning new things, which informs, my films.
Hmm.
Love sports, and I love Cheez-Its.
Bam! And got a shot at the Cheez-Its. And what made you want to work in the entertainment industry? What made you get into it?
To be honest with you, I wasn't one of those people where I was like, "Oh, I've been making films since I was 3 years old." No, well, I definitely wasn't one of those people. It kind of just fell in my lap. When I was in undergrad, I was, I believe, I took um, it was one of those like general courses, and since I was in the communications school, it was like intro to media studies, something like that.
Hmm.
And for the class, we had to make a short film, and this was my very first short film. So I just made it off kind of what I've seen in films and kind of what I remember liking or whatever. And my professor was the one who planted the seed in me for me to uh, want to do film. He really loved the film actually, and he was praising it so much, and I was like so shocked in terms of like trying to figure out like why did he like it so much. But he kind of you know blew my head up a little bit into at that very beginning.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, he would tell me he uses it as a uh, learning tool and stuff like that. He would like every year for the next couple of years or whatever, he would show my film as like how he wants the students to make the films. And I was
Dope.
like, I didn't think it was kind of crazy because it was my first one. So yeah, he was the one, Professor Rada. I actually still keep in contact with him. Uh, he's the one who actually got me into filmmaking and wanting to do film because he encouraged me so much. I had never had anybody encourage me, so unexpectedly. So that's actually what got me into filmmaking was him in college. Then you know go on from there.
Gotcha. So he inspired and like planted the seed as well as cultivated, pushed you to go
Yeah, yeah,
after
yeah,
it. Okay, no, that's dope. And
yeah.
I know it's different things for different people. I know for me, I used to do theater when I was little, and I got bit by the acting bug. And
Mm.
as I got older, I was like, I want to be more on the other side of it. But always wanted to work in the entertainment industry. But it's crazy how that I guess that one spark kind of
So you
pushes
were,
you.
I didn't know that. You never told me that. You were an actor
Oh
first?
yes, yes, I did
I didn't know
some
that.
community theater when I was younger. At the Langston Hughes Performing Arts Center back in Seattle, and did that, and it was a dope experience. I wanted to be an actor at one point, but then I was like, nah, I got a degree in business management. Let me work on the business side, but yeah, I kind of
You
got
got to
caught
listen
behind
to
the
people.
scenes from
People
there.
got to tell you what to do all the time. That's why I couldn't probably do. Like
Yeah,
I like being the one telling people what to do. I was like, don't be telling me what to do. And I
it's
couldn't do that.
it's real, but no, so I definitely went through on the journey from there. But another question for you is that how do you balance your work and your creative aspects as well? Um, how does that work out for you?
Actually, you know what? I found, and I don't know. I feel like this would be a controversial like way to balance it, but this is how I've actually been able to kind of make it work for me because I feel like the biggest thing with the work, creative balance is that a lot of times, you have to work in order to live. You got to work that 9 to 5 job or whatever in order to pay your bills. So a lot of times, you can't really skip that. If I could just like skip work every now and then and just, not go, I would, but you can't. So like what I have learned to do is because, the jobs you work or your day jobs or whatever aren't your passion.
Hmm.
Like I don't put my 1,000% into my day job. I like I'm not trying to be the best at whatever my day job is. I'm trying to be the best filmmaker I can be. So like I leave enough energy for myself to even want to keep going because what I was doing before was I would put a lot of energy into the day job and go about day job like grinding or whatever, and then whenever I would get off I wouldn't have the energy or like the desire to do this part, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I make sure that I put all of my energy into, or at least that's what that's my goal is to put the real energy, fresh energy into the creative juices and the creative side of my life, and then my day job gets the scraps
Gotcha,
basically.
gotcha. Well, we gotta make sure whoever you
I don't
work
get
for now, don't
fired.
hear
You
this.
got enough to keep going, like to keep your job. Don't get fired or nothing because you
Yeah.
can't get a deal.
That's true. That's true. But as far as like just privacy in general, as far as like your work schedule, is it that you're working your job, but then you're like writing or trying to get stuff together
Yeah,
after
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hours?
You gotta keep a schedule. I mean, again, I'm like the typical creative, left brain thinker, where it's like, oh yeah, 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 I'll just do it in the morning. Like I never really made a schedule. Like I
Hmm.
like it was something that was always kind of maybe hard for me to keep a, a strict schedule for myself. And I could never get consistency because of that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you have to, like, no questions asked, have to make a schedule. Write it down. That's actually something my dad used to tell me all the time. I was like, yeah, yeah, I'll do it. And I just never did it. And
Hmm.
it wasn't until I started writing things down and, you know, uh, making a schedule for, writing and for making calls and for, meeting people, and, having this interview with you. Like I put everything on my schedule and I, approach it, like you would approach your real job. And that makes it feel real to you.
Gotcha. Just making sure you're disciplined as far as sticking to it and
Yeah,
moving
yeah, you
forward
gotta,
from there.
yeah, you gotta approach it. Yeah, you gotta approach it like a real job. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced as far as just working in this entertainment industry and trying to make it
Um,
happen?
um, well, I feel like the biggest challenge is the amount of work it takes and the long. I mean, the consistency. I was gonna say longevity, but everything's longevity. But like the consistency you have to maintain in order for things to get done and for things to move on to the next step. Because I feel like maybe for people starting out, you read the stories, or at least I read the stories of filmmakers who, yeah, they made their short film, and then that guy saw their short film, and then they signed them to an agency, and then
Hmm.
they made their everything was like so like one, two, three, four, five, boom,
Gotcha.
uh, and it's never like that. I mean, it hasn't been like that for me and most of the people I've met or whatever. Um, you kind of have to find, I guess, your why within yourself about why you want to do this, because you never know, I guess, when your like time is going to come, your moment is going to come. Or I mean, I even have friends who they're on their third feature film, but it's low budget feature film, and they're getting by and they have their audience for those type of films. And like, who knows, I mean, everybody wants to be like the next, I don't know, Spike Lee or
Hmm.
the Ryan Coogler's or whatever. But you might be the person who is grinding, for 20 years making a certain level of film. And if that's what you do and that's what you're good at, that's the life you're gonna live. So um, yeah, that's basically the hardest thing is just keeping the consistency and not not assuming that you know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess somebody told me that this industry is filled with famines and feasts, and like
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
sometimes it's good, and it's like okay, you got a lot happening, and then it gets real tight, and you're like, okay, how am I gonna keep going? But
yeah.
as far as just moving out here, I underestimated the mental part of it, as far as just
Hmm.
the mental strength, as far as just the you're out here, you're working, and you're seeing a lot of friends either rising up or trying to make it, and you're just like you don't want to get disheartened, but yeah, it's definitely something that you have to be persistent about and focus on and keep going. I guess yeah, it's a
Yeah,
marathon, not a sprint.
yeah.
Um, what are some words of wisdom that you could give to other filmmakers, creative people out here who are trying to do something similar or wanting to get started?
You know what? Like, I feel like, after some years of, you know, trying to make it and grinding or whatever, like you said, there's those moments, or you have stretches of time where, like you said, like those famines or whatever, you're trying to figure out, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Or is this like, is this gonna work? Or, like you might have some like writer's block, or, you know, the, it might look like your project's coming together, but things start falling apart and you just start feeling like things are slipping through your fingers. And I feel like what's helped me, and I think what maybe can help other people, is you have to find your like why. Like I had kind of mentioned before, like, if you're just making filmmakers, if you're just making films, just because, or just because someone said they liked it, or just because you want to be famous, or you want to make money off of it, I mean that's originally why I started. Someone liked it, and I liked that feeling. But as time went on, I realized that what I connected to film was it was basically it was like a part of me. It was like a way to express yourself. It's a like people view it as like a marriage between art and business, and that is what I get out of it. And I feel like um, there's a need, I guess, for everybody's talking about a lot of diversity this, diversity that, but it is true. I feel like there's still a huge void for certain voices. I specifically think for my voice and my type of take on the world or whatever. I feel like that drives me. The feeling that people need my voice. You know what I mean? There's not
Hmm.
enough. Not like I'm the one, but I was like if you feel like you have something to say. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be afraid to just put it out into the world, And I feel like that is kind of what keeps me going. Is that I feel like I kind of have to. If I didn't, it would be like I wouldn't feel fulfilled.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with like money or fame, or honestly, it doesn't. It just kind of I feel like it's like you kind of have to have that like you said, it's like that when you talk about acting bugs, it's like a bug or whatever that's kind of in the pit of your stomach. You kind of feel you can't stop. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So like if you feel comfortable stopping, then maybe it's not for you because you don't know when your time is because people can do this. Actually, you know what? Something somebody told me when I first started out.
Hmm.
I just had no idea. I was like, I did not believe him at all. Like I was like fresh out of film school, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get my deal like tomorrow. They were like, it takes people a minimum of 7 years, to even get their feet on the ground. And I was like, 7 years. I was like, that's some bullshit. 7 years.
Woo.
I ain't gonna do this. They're gonna take me 7 years, right? And then like
Hmm.
7 years later, I'm like, man, woof, I'm just getting my feet on the ground. I'm like, God damn, that's this is hard. This is way harder than I thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean that mentality of knowing that it's gonna take a while, and you gotta have a reason to want to keep going. So
Yeah. No,
that's what I.
that's
Yeah.
real, and it's I think it's really important as far as your why. And I think I heard a quote one time saying your why determines your how. And
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one.
if that like I think a lot of people definitely need to find that out. My biggest thing when I first moved out here is I saw a lot of people who moved out here and moved back home their first year,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want to be that guy for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, let me put my head like to the ground and just like make it happen and work. And I was blessed, to find work and to keep it going. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just really about moving forward. But just being out here and doing it and stuff. So yeah, finding your why is definitely important. I feel like that's just like the key that kind of makes
Yeah.
everything happen from there.
You
Um,
gotta have like that, at least something I struggled with was like my self confidence, like like even feeling like people wanted to see my work,
mhm,
because it wasn't I wasn't until I was doing it for maybe a few years that I started like kind of believing in myself. People were saying like, oh wow, this is good, this is good. Now
mhm.
I was like, really, I was like, this is good, and I just didn't believe it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
didn't have a lot of like confidence in I was like, people don't want to see this. I was like, this is like, I think this is funny. I was like, why would you? This is you. I can't believe you think this is funny. Like I think you would think it's stupid. But I think if you like have that confidence, I feel like a lot of even filmmakers. Maybe I've met like a split. Like there's a split like of filmmakers who just think they're just like God's gift to earth. They
mhm,
think they never make any mistakes and like think they're the best and like don't want to listen to anybody. And then there's the filmmakers who just always second guessing and always like, unsure or whatever. I would try to like lean more on the like think they know everything to be honest, because if you don't believe in yourself and if you don't have confidence in yourself, you won't have that influence on because you won't have that influence on people to like join your team because you need. That's another big thing I learned. Like you have to be a leader and you got to
mhm.
kind of inspire people to you know believe in your vision. So you kind of got to have that it factor. You got to get people like riled up, like like a football captain or whatever.
Yeah,
That's something kind of developed was like, oh wow, I have to I have to show my passion. I have to get people to care as much as I care. So you have to like have that confidence in yourself because when people feel, even if you don't know, if people feel like or that you look like you can fake it until like until you make it until like it really you can stretch it out. I feel.
true.
Uh, so that's another thing I would say.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, as far as just finding your confidence and understanding your why are two big
Yeah.
things to push someone forward to stuff. Okay, I mean, I think those are gems, and people will definitely resonate with it. But where can people find you? Social media, online, all
Oh
of that.
yeah. Man, so many now. I mean, I'm a lot on Instagram. I'm on. You can find me at the real Rob Jones, Jonez. I believe that's my Twitter handle too.
Gotcha. And I'll put them up on the screen so people can see
Yeah,
it
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I haven't gotten to Snapchat. I feel like at some point I'm gonna have to just like get into it. But I feel like it's like my life's not that interesting. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people be on Snapchat, just like, hey, this is me going to work. It's like, yeah, that's not interesting. Like your life is boring. I don't. Anyway, so that's why I haven't got into it yet. My life's not that interesting yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't gotten into it either, but I don't know. Maybe there's ways you can create stories in Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm still trying to connect to it. I'm still trying to. I'm like, what can make me want to, you know, get into it like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
YouTube. Oh, YouTube. You can find me on there too. I got a channel on YouTube. I believe if you just search my name, Rob Jones, Jonez, you can my profile will pop up.
Okay, gotcha. And I'll add that too.
Mm.
Well, yeah, I mean, solid combo. Appreciate you being a
Yeah,
part of
man.
this.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I know you're doing the vlog series as well, and I've been seeing it and excited to see what you have coming up. And yeah, appreciate you, sir.
Thank you, man. Thanks for the call. And like I said, I'm following you too, man. We gotta inspire each other to keep grinding.
Yes. Well, one step at a time. But I mean, if not us, who?
Exactly. Yep.
No
Yep.
idea.